When users log in to lend items, they can see three options on the menu bar: Home Page, Search Reserve panel, and My History. The Search Reserve panel is where the user looks for items and reserves them. There are two types of reservations in lend items: queues and bookings. For bookings, the user needs to specify when they are planning to pick up an item and when they are planning to return it. For queues, they simply say that they would like to borrow an item and it will be available when it is their turn. When a user wants to search for an item, there are two ways of searching: the simple search, where the user puts in a phrase they'd like to search for in all attributes of an item, and the advanced search, where they can specify the type of item and the search conditions for each attribute. Let's find an item we'd like to borrow. In the table, we can see for how long an item can be borrowed. When we press the Book It button, we will be able to specify the date when we'd like to borrow an item and when we are planning to return it. In red, we can see the dates that are no longer available because they have already been booked by other users. Once we have selected the lending period, we press the Book It button. Let's look for another item that is only available for lending on a very short-term basis. We can see that this camera can only be borrowed for 3 hours. This is why, when we book it, we will need to specify the time of day when we are planning to pick it up and when we are going to return it. We can see the unavailable times for the selected date. Let's say we want to borrow this camera from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock. When we are done, we press the Book It button. In a case in which we have selected an unavailable time period, we get an invalid reservation warning, indicating we need to modify our dates and times. Let's now try to queue for an item. We can see that this book can be borrowed for 14 days, but the administrator has specified that it can't be booked for a particular date. You can only stay in the queue and wait for the item to become available. We can see our position in the queue is now 2. If we go to the home page, we can see all the items we have currently borrowed, our bookings for the 2 cameras we have just booked, and the queues for the items we have queued for with our current position. In the My History panel, we will see all the items we have borrowed in the selected period.